Hey guys, how you doing? This is Rick. Real quick before I get into the main topic of my video, I thought I'd show you this little clip I put together. I thought it was kind of humorous. I hope you like it.
Hey, baby, my friends, all they want to do is use me. Hey, hey, when my hands up, whoa. It's all that using me. Stop. Hey, whoa, yeah, listen, baby. I wanna spread the news, and that if it feels this good getting used, oh, you just keep on using me, yeah, until you use me up. Hey, you give, until you use me up. Hey, baby, you just use me up. Home with oh, baby. Oh, when you love me, I can't get enough. No. I wanna spread the news, and that if it feels this good, get used. Oh, you just keep on using me. Yeah. Until you use me up. Hey, baby, you. Until you use me up. Hey, baby, you just using me up.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, real quick, a fast disclaimer. The video footage I'm using is from my trip in 2011. It's kind of old footage, but I needed something for a background. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Rick, and I thought I'd make another video on the subject of meeting an Asian girl who lives in Asia now. I want to try to answer a couple of questions that I often get. Primarily, the number one thing is, hey Rick, do I even have a shot? Because Rick, I'm an older guy, and I'm really having a lot of trouble here in the United States trying to meet a decent girl. You know, like I'm late 40s, I'm nearly 50. I mean, do I even have a shot? Hey, I know guys that are in their 50s, and they want to know, do they have a shot? 60 years old, same thing. Does a 60-year-old have a shot? I even know a guy who's 70 who reached out to me not too long ago, wondering if he had a shot. I'm going to say yes to all of you. However, the older you get, the more difficult it becomes. That's the truth. Can you meet a younger, significantly younger girl? Yeah, you can, but there's something you need to know. The older you are and the younger she is, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Just being really honest, okay? Your family and friends? They're probably not going to like this. 70-year-old, for example. 70-year-old actually wants to meet my sister-in-law, who we're looking at right here. Can you? Okay, that I understand. Well, Mr. 70-year-old, you can meet an Asian girl over there. Yes, you can. But if you come home with a girl like this, your family and friends are definitely going to have a reaction, and it's probably not going to be a very good one, and they're probably going to get real upset. The wider the age gap, the bigger problem you're going to have in that respect. Does that mean you can't get a girl? You can get a girl. What you need to understand is that in Asia there are, in my opinion, from having been there several times myself, there are a lot of possibilities for meeting a single girl of all kinds of different ages. So here's an idea. Why not just look for someone who's a little older? Because here's the whole thing. When there's a massively huge difference in age between you and your girl, it becomes very socially awkward and difficult. It's that way with your family. It's that way with your friends. And not only that, it's the same thing for your girl as well. You know, she's trying to fit into your life, and then as well as everything else she's dealing with, she has to deal with the social implications of being with you as a significantly, majorly older person. So I think you need to make this decision very carefully with your eyes wide open, as they say. So I just also want to make the point that it's not so much a racism kind of a vibe that's directed at you. It's more of, it's like, it's your fault as the guy, this is exposing something that's in you. And why did that girl fall for it? And even though you probably have a really valid, loving, caring relationship, a valid relationship with the girl with no ulterior motives involved from her side, it's just socially awkward. And for whatever reason, these kind of arrangements work for celebrities. Celebrities, you see them do it. And really, really rich people like Donald Sterling. Look up Donald Sterling, girlfriend, Los Angeles, and you'll see an example of old guy with young, cute girl, It's like Donald Sterling lost a lot of face over the whole thing when it suddenly became public of what was going on in his private life with this girlfriend he had. But having said all of that, I'm just saying as a compromise, it may be a really wise, intelligent thing to do if you're looking for companionship in Asia, which I think is a brilliant idea. It's maybe far more effective and smoother thing to pull off if you compromise and are willing to look for someone a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and so forth. I'm in the back of my mind, I'm referencing these comments to those of you who are 50 and above, generally speaking. I'll give you an example. My uncle married a 47-year-old. Now, remember the rule, the Asian girls look younger than they are. She looked like a 30-year-old. Seriously. She was about 92 pounds, great figure, and she wasn't even trying. And this is so common over there because they're all eating health food, but they don't know it. There's no GMO stuff in their food. They're not eating cake and candy and donuts and ice cream and slamming down sodas and beer and all. That's not how they roll. They're eating a vegetarian diet, a lot of them, because red meat is too expensive. So they're all eating way better than we do here. And like I say, there's no GMO in their food. So they're not packing on pounds. So they look a lot better there. Well, that's my opinion, and maybe your opinion too. They just tend to look a lot better. So yeah, my uncle met this girl who was 47, and I'm telling you, she was built like an American 16-year-old. She just looked really good. And you know what? They've been married like 15 years now or something like that. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. See, the thing is, why do you have a shot? Because you have to understand something. When one of these Asian girls, and by the way, here's my sister-in-law, looks like a teenage girl, she's not. She's mid-20s in this footage, and she still looks essentially the same today. And this was shot in 2011, so this is, 6 years old, this footage. Hard to believe that much time's gone by. But anyways, where was I? So, okay, yeah. So when these Asian girls who live in Asia now, these traditional girls, when they reach the magic number of 30, they really get nervous about it. They don't want to be single. They want to be married and productive and moving on. So what they do out of that level of depression and everything is they lower their standards way down. And before they wouldn't have given you the time of day as a person in your late 40s, but now they will, because they really, really want to be married. Okay, they want to move on in life. Let me digress for a second and say there's something I need to tell you that you need to be aware of. I call it the baby factor. They want to be moms. Now, they happen to be real good at being moms. And by the way, it's nice to know that quite often if they do become a mom, they bounce right back and they still look really great. They don't lose their figure. Oftentimes they still look fantastic. So they age really well, like I said. But I'm trying to tell you, you need to be aware of this. They like babies. So anyways, that's something to be aware of. Okay? You need to know that. Now, I have to say, in all fairness, when my uncle married the 47-year-old, the baby thing was not discussed at all. I'm just saying, if you get hooked up with a 30-year-old, that subject will come up. I promise. Okay, so yes, you have a shot. And, you know, one of my quotable quotes is that to stack the deck in your favor, I've covered this before in the last video I did. In a sentence, what you want to try to do, in my opinion, to have total success, is you want to try to emulate the look of a network news anchor. Just think of, like, Scott Pelley is a good example, right? He's very distinguished looking. He's not overweight, doesn't have a long scraggly beard. He's not slamming down a 24-pack of beer every day. He's in shape. He goes to the gym. He's on the treadmill. Obviously, you know, he's got his cardio thing going. And he looks good, okay? So that's what you want to emulate. A clean-shaven business look is what you want. If that's not you, that's okay. But I will tell you straight up, you're going to have a harder time trying to meet one of these girls because they like guys that look like Scott Pelley. Okay, I'm just saying. So, what's the easiest way to pull this off? Well, the easiest way to pull this off, you're just going to have to go over there. That's really all there is to it. Because you can't have an internet, you know, dialogue and emails and Skyping forever if you do happen to meet a girl online, which is hard to do. That's a whole nother series of videos trying to navigate those waters. So quite honestly, the real fast track way to pull this off and really make it happen is to go over there and try to spend as much time as you can. Because you want to develop a solid, real, true relationship and companionship with somebody, and that's just the fast track way to pull it off. You know, I mean, shall we even start getting into, you know, what we deal with here with our local friends, shall we say? Oh, I bet I could offend a lot of people if I launch into that dialogue. Let's just say it this way, trying to be really tactful. Some of us guys are just engineered in such a way that we just have a preference for women who tend to stay in smaller stature. Women who do not have a tendency to turn into 260-pounders. That turn into something that's as wide as a F-350 dually. Okay? Maybe some guys don't care. Whatever, that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, man. That's cool. So if you really prefer the smaller frame of a female figure, like an Asian, then I'm going to say you're going to have to just go over there, man. But it's okay, because once you get there, life is inexpensive. By the way, an Eastern European, totally caught fortuitously, because the camera was ready. I have no idea who she is. I'm sure she would strangle me if she could, if she had any idea she was being filmed, and that it's on YouTube. Oh my gosh. She would have killed me. She probably would have paid me under the table, you know, hey, I'll give you $100 not to post that. I'll give you $100 for the rights to that video. But anyways, okay, we need to, I'm trying like heck to keep this short. So let me try to cut down to this. Biggest mistake I see guys make, they finally do meet an Asian girl, and what happens is they get too serious too fast. And the mistake that they're making is that they do not realize that you have to find out if the girl's coming from a good family or not. How do you do that? Well, you have to know what to look for. First of all, how does she dress? Is she dressed conservatively, or is she showing a lot of skin? That's a clue. And also her manners. I've noticed if they really demonstrate really, really good manners, it's a really good sign. And it depends on what you want. If you want to go over there and meet a bar girl, well, you don't need any of my videos, because all you have to do is get a plane ticket, go over there and meet a bar girl. It only takes minutes. It only takes minutes to get chlamydia and gonorrhea and HIV. It only takes minutes. So it's high risk. If that's what you want to do, you could do that. But if you want to meet, you know, a cool traditional girl, have a long-term relationship, a quality long-term relationship, then these are the things that you would probably want to know and talk about. So how does she dress? We must determine that she's from a good family. How does she dress? That's our first clue. Second clue is what kind of manners does she have? But that's how you tell. That's one of the ways you can tell. So if you do happen to meet a girl, don't go too fast. Don't get too serious too fast. Take time to check out the family. Take time to check everything out first. Look for those red flags. A good clue is how she dresses. I'm being redundant, but it can't be repeated too many times, I don't think. These are things you gotta proceed with caution. There's always an exception. There's exceptional Caucasian girls that I've met that are awesome. And there are Asian girls I've met that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Okay, now I need to move on to our final topic, and that's about you. So may I kindly ask you respectfully, is there anything in your background that would prevent you from getting a visa or a passport? Or to say it differently, do you have a criminal history, criminal past? Not every single thing would stop you from having a visa or passport. It depends on what the offense is. So you need to determine and answer the question, can you get a passport and can you get a visa? If the answer is yes, then that's great. You can go forward. So if the answer is no, then you should probably just end right here. Don't waste a girl's time trying to get over there if you can't do it. You're dreaming if you think you can send her a ton of money and have her come over here. Sooner or later it's going to be disclosed. And if you've been, let's say that you've gotten involved with a girl and she doesn't know about it, and then finally, she's going to want to get married if she really loves you. She's going to want to get married. Then you're going to have to disclose this stuff. And if you drop that bomb on her, she's going to be really bummed out. You will have wasted her time. And it's really a bad thing to do. Okay? It's a bad thing to do. I could make a video just about that. There's more behind what I'm saying than I have time to get into. So let me just say in one sentence, please do not waste the girl's time if you are not able to legally get a passport and a visa. Okay? Just trust me. You'll have to come up with a plan B of maybe meeting an Asian girl that's here. Okay? I think it's better to just go over there. It's easier. Because the connections online I don't like. I just don't like what I see there. It's too questionable. Okay, here's another thing you're worried about. Well, wait a second. I heard about these lady boys. Now, what's up with that? What do I do about that? How do I avoid that? So here's something that you need to know about Asian culture. It can be very blunt and very direct suddenly when you least expect it. And I'll just run through this hypothetically. Let's say that you've met a quote-unquote girl and you want to test and find out, are you a lady boy or not? You know what? Just ask them. Ask the person. Just ask them straight up and just be polite. Be very polite, and they will tell you. They will respect the fact that you want to know. That's all there is to it. You don't have to I don't think you'd have to worry about offending them. It's how you carry yourself and how you present the question. But Asians can be direct and blunt, and I would say it's okay. It's how you do it, But I think if you're very respectful and you can even maybe handle it with some sort of form of humor possibly, But yeah, I would just ask directly about it. And having said that, I mean, it's a shame that we have to talk about such a deception. But just for your information, their hands are different. The relationship between the length of her index finger and her ring finger will be different than yours. And they can do all the magnificent surgeries they want, but they can't change the hands. So start paying attention to women's index finger and the length of her ring finger, and you'll notice there's a difference between men and women in most general terms. Another tell is the shape of their head and the width of their shoulders. In other words, the shoulders of a man tend to be more wide, whereas the shoulders of a girl tend to be narrower in relation to the size of their heads. That is another tell. Start paying attention to the women you know that are truly women, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Another thing that I've noticed is because the women, their hips are different in construction, shall we say, because they bear children, so their hips are different. And and where their belly button is located on their body tends to be a little bit different than a man's. If I'm not mistaken, a man's belly button is going to be a little lower on the body than would be a girl. A girl's tends to be a little bit higher up, if I'm not mistaken. So there are those little clues. But yeah, they've really, especially over in Thailand and also in Korea, I believe, they've really perfected surgeries and stuff like that. Frankly, I mean, if I was a single guy, I guess I would be kind of concerned about that as well. But I know enough about Asian culture to know that you can, as long as you're being polite and respectful, you can ask that question. And, just tell them, hey, I'm straight. I wanted to meet a girl that's straight, and you know, no offense or anything, but that's just my preference, and so that's all you'd have to do to mitigate that problem. So I've really been talking a long time here, and if you're really into all this kind of stuff, it only seems like a minute or two, but I don't want to be boring and redundant, so I probably should wrap it right here. I hope this has been helpful. I'm on your side. I really hope that you can pull this off. I did. It wasn't easy all the time. It was kind of rough. I made some mistakes, hit my head against the wall a couple of times. You know, I crashed and burned a couple of times. Fortunately, there was a recovery, but, you know, I'm saying I bounced out of it and landed on my feet. But yeah, you know, you live, you learn, you make mistakes, but you keep going. And you'll have success. There's so many nice single girls over there. It's rich with opportunity. Make sure you find a girl that's from a good family, and get good at discerning, you know, a good girl from a not so good girl. And I think you'll be okay. So, having said that, I will end here. Take care. I wish you the best of luck, and go forward and have success and be well. We'll catch you later.
Hey, baby, my friends, all they want to do is use me. Hey, hey, but my answer, is scared of all that using me. Stop. Hey, yeah, listen, baby. I wanna spread the news, and that if it feels this good getting used, oh, you just keep on using me, yeah, until you use me up. Hey, you give, until you use me up. Hey, baby, you just use me up. Oh, but oh, baby, when you love me, I can't get enough. No. I wanna spread the news that if it feels this good, get used. Oh, you just keep on using me, yeah, until you use me up. Hey, baby, you, until you use me up. Hey, baby, you just using me up.
I just have a question, like, what kind of music do you want to sing?
R&B pop, kind of like John Legend meets Pharrell almost.